NewsNation political editor Chris Stirewalt with us now. Chris, to be fair, the president doesn't have much of a choice, right, but to embrace the economy that he has created over the past 3 years. The American people, at least so far, have not bought, in terms of approval ratings and view and outlook of right track, wrong track, the president's view of the economic situation. Does continuing to tell them how good things are going to be if you just believe me a little bit longer and vote for me again work?
Well, I don't know how many people really are listening to what the president says about the economy. I don't think people think, I don't think that that's the part that matters. I think the part for Biden that matters is he is stuck in this terrible space. You just heard a really painful speech that he just gave. That was really difficult. It was a brief set of remarks that he made, and it was all rehearsed lines that we've heard from him many times before, and he really struggled his way through that. And at the end, when he was talking, because he had talked about how it was 40 years, and then he remembered he was vice president for some of those 40 years where it was wrong, and then he said, well, Barack was, but I was in then, and I was 68 hours, no, 68 trips, 68 whatever. And you see the painful truth for this reelection campaign and for this White House. If you keep him in the basement, the figurative basement, you're criticized for not putting him out there. You put him out there, and he does not instill confidence. So this is a great example of the crack that the president finds himself in his reelection campaign.
You were a little more direct in your analysis. You listened to the speech; it seemed pretty disjointed to me, and painful at times to listen to your point. It almost, and help me if I'm off base here, but almost like he was running against Ronald Reagan, right? All about trickle-down economics, trickle-down economics. You heard 2 or 3 references to Donald Trump. How does that compare to running against a much more populist Republican nominee, whoever that may be?
Well, I think this was a substantial rehash of what we heard from Biden in 2020, right? And talking about the way that things were in the past and that they're different now. Look, I think for Biden, talking about unions is he sees as a strength. For Biden, talking about bringing women and minority Americans into the workforce is a point of strength. He wants to talk about those things, and he does want to deplore what the same sort of populist energy that Donald Trump, he wants to tap into that same space. I just think, and I hate to keep coming back to this, I don't think anybody watched that speech and took away a coherent economic point of view. I think Joe Biden has a long track record of being a pro-union, economically populistic, to a degree, kind of Democrat. But I don't think anybody walked away from that speech feeling like they had a cogent look at a cohered point of view on economics.
We said before the speech Wednesday at 1 o'clock for this major speech where he's going to define Bidenomics, as the White House likes to call it now, ahead of the reelection, the 1 year till the convention mark. I thought at the beginning, hey, they put it at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we talked with Axios earlier about this, effectively because this is sort of the president's prime time. He tends to be at his best, according to his aides, right in these hours during the midday. It almost occurred to me watching it and listening to it that he wanted to have given the speech. He wants the optics. Maybe there's going to be a couple lines they can cut for commercials or for fundraising, but they almost didn't want anybody to hear it.
Well, I mean, look, he did have a couple good lines, and he did have a couple of funny recoveries. As he went on, it got tougher, but when he crossed himself, when he was talking about it, so he had a couple of good saves and a couple of funny lines. And Biden can be, and I believe the people who I know who have talked to Biden that say that in meetings that he can be sharp and engaged and all of that stuff. But you know, how long were those remarks? Was that 30 minutes of talking?
33.
That's too much. You can't put Biden out there for more than a half an hour. He wanders off. It's too long. And I think in terms of what time of the day is the right day for Biden, there's not a time of the day that you can give a speech about which is basically a branding, as you correctly point out. This is a branding exercise.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.